Hello, this is Ms. DB, and this is going to be a short video on some help on the 8.1 Similarity in Right Triangles assignment. And I opened the version that's in Geometer's Sketchpad. I think it's a lot easier to use Sketchpad than to try to write this out on Word. You can also use the Word version if you have the capabilities to write what you need to, label the triangles as needed by hand, and then attach an image. You really have to redraw the triangles in order to make this work, in order to get the right answers and be able to figure out which triangles are similar to which, so that then you can set up your proportions correctly. So in 1 and 2, and the tabs are down here at the bottom, if you don't see the tabs, then look for up here, there should be a little square. I only am showing part of the screen so you don't see it, but click so that you can enlarge your screen. Alright, so the first thing that you're going to do on 1 and 2 is redraw and label the big, medium, and small triangles that make up this triangle. There's a big triangle that is the original triangle, and then it was divided by drawing the altitude, the height of it, which is perpendicular to its hypotenuse. And then, so we have a right triangle here, we have a right triangle here, and we have another right triangle right here. 3 right triangles. Label those first on your big, medium, and small triangles. Put the right triangle vertice. So in our big triangle is LMN, and that triangle I'm just redrawing right here. Now sometimes you don't just transfer the letters, you have to rotate it around and figure out where things go. Now the medium triangle, the right angle of the medium triangle is P, so I'm going to put that on there first, P. Now, it says that I'm going to have a short leg, a long leg, and a hypotenuse. The hypotenuse, do that second. The hypotenuse is opposite side of the right angle. So you can see that the hypotenuse is going to be LN. So that's the hypotenuse. Now, in LN, PN is going to be the short leg, right? Because that's obviously shorter than PL, which will be the long leg. Now, I'm just looking at this triangle here now, P and L triangle. So I've already labeled P where it belongs. The other vertex on the short leg is right here, is N, and the other vertex on the long leg would be over here at L. Now I have to do the, let me try to get a different color. Now I have to do the short, or the littlest triangle. Okay, let's see if it changed color. So on the little triangle, P is again the right angle. So I put that for my right angle. This is my short leg of my little triangle. This is my hypotenuse. And then this would be the long leg right here. Which means that the long leg of the little triangle is the same as the short leg of the medium triangle. Okay, so the short leg is PM, and the long leg is PN. So that means my hypotenuse was NM, and I check, and yep, that was right. The hypotenuse is always opposite the right angle. So take some serious time to relabel your 3 triangles, either using the Sketchpad tools, either making text boxes in Word, or printing it and writing them in pen or pencil. Now the next part is to do the similarity statement comparing the 3 triangles. You do that after you've relabeled these. So now that I know these are the way that they are oriented the same, so now I can write them as triangle. You can start at any vertex you decide to for the first triangle. I'm going to start with L. So I'm going to go L, and then I'm going to go around this way to M, and then I'm going to go around this way to N. So triangle LMN will be similar to, you have to start at the same corresponding vertex now for all of them. And you have to go the same way for all of them. So the next triangle it'll be similar to would be triangle LNP, which is also similar to the little triangle, which would be NMP. So every one you have to start at the same corresponding vertex that you started your original name of your triangle at, and you have to go in the same order around the triangle. I went clockwise. You have to do that the same for each one. That's how you do number 1 and 2. If you just look at it and say, oh, I think it looks like this, this, this is similar to this, 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 you will most likely get it wrong. So redraw this one and do the exact same thing. Note that this time, this triangle is not drawn the same way as this one. The right angle is down here, And here's my right angle of my original size triangle. So G is the right angle. Put that on there first. Here's the short leg for the triangle FGH. Here's the long leg. And this is the hypotenuse. So you have to make sure that you put the letters in the correct spot so that your triangle matches that triangle, even though it's like flipped around and not in the same, it's not orientated the same way. And then your middle triangle is, I'll change my color again. My middle triangle, oh, it changed those colors. Okay, I'll try it again. Here's my middle triangle. My middle triangle has a right angle of J, so you'll put that here. And then this is the short leg of the middle triangle, so it'll be JG, and the long leg is here, and then this would be my hypotenuse. And then you'll move over to the little triangle, and the little triangle has a right angle also of J, and then you'll have to figure out what's the short leg, what's the long leg. So label these, and then write your similarity statement after you make sure that those are all correctly labeled. These problems, the only thing that you might have trouble with after you read about how to do the geometric mean is simplifying your radical. It says to give your answer in simplest radical form. That does not mean a decimal form. So to do the geometric mean, you just multiply the two numbers and then take the square root of that. So that's the square root of 20. Now, you do not type that into your calculator. What you do is you say, what are some factors of 20? And I'm looking for one factor that is a perfect square. Nope, neither of those are a perfect square. 4 and 5, yes, 4 is a perfect square. So I'm going to rewrite 20 as 4 times 5, which then I can rewrite as the square root of 4 times the square root of 5. Because what is the square root of 4? It's 2. So this simplifies, this is simplest radical form to 2 square root of 5. And we've done these before. All right, let's look at number 7. This is where it starts to get a little bit trickier. Number 7 in the sketch pad have already been labeled. If you're using the worksheet, you'll have to label these yourself. You might want to look over at this to see what they are. So I have already transferred, I've already said, okay, here's my right angle of my big one that matches this one, and my short leg of my original triangle is Z, and the long leg of my original triangle is Y. So the hypotenuse is this side, which would be X plus 2, and I've got that labeled. And then I did the medium triangle. I said, okay, here's my medium triangle here. Here's the right angle. The short leg goes from here up, so that's 4. So I put 4 there. The long leg is also attached to the right angle. That's X. And then the hypotenuse is opposite the right angle. That's Y. And then here's the little triangle. Here's the right angle. So the short leg is 2. The long leg is 4. And the hypotenuse is Z. That's how I got those on there. Once you have those on here, now you can set up your proportion. We know that similar triangles have sides that have the same similarity ratio, or the sides are proportional. So in order to find, let's use these two triangles. You're always going to use two triangles. Let's use these two triangles to find X. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the long leg of the medium over the long leg of the small will be equal to the short leg of the medium. I'm going to put M's by these so I remember I'm doing long leg of the medium and long leg of the small will equal the short leg of the medium over the short leg of the small. And then you just fill this in with your numbers. So long leg of the medium is X. Long leg of the small is 4. Short leg of the medium is 4. Short leg of the small is 2. So I have everything I need to solve this proportion and find X. Now let's say I want to, and you'll have to finish that, find X. Now let's say that I want to find, it's going to change color of everything. Let's say I want to find the Y. So let's see, here's a Y. Where else do we see a Y? That's the only Y I see. It should show up somewhere else. Oh, here it is, right here, Y. So I could either put, let's see, I could put these two together and do long leg over long leg equals hypotenuse. No, I can't do that. That won't work because I don't know the hypotenuse. I don't know z of this one, so that's not going to work. Let's look at then the hypotenuse of the medium is y. Hypotenuse, I don't know. Oh, once you find x, that's what you can do. Once you know what x is, you'll plug it in here, and then you'll know the hypotenuse of the long one. So then you could do hypotenuse of the big triangle over the hypotenuse of the medium triangle will be equal to the long leg of the big triangle over the long leg of the medium triangle. But there's x's in there that you're going to have to plug in first. Maybe we'll find this quick. 4 times 4 is 16, so I'd have 16 equals 2x, so x equals 8. I need that to finish the next part. X equals 8. So that means this is 8, and this would be 8 plus 2 is 10, and that's everywhere. Okay, so now I know that the hypotenuse of the big triangle is 10. The hypotenuse of the medium triangle, I don't know. That's what I'm trying to find. The long leg of the big triangle is y. The long leg of the medium triangle is 8. So I'm going to have y times y, that's y squared, equals 10 times 8 is 80. Now, you have to simplify your square root. So I'm going to take the square root of both sides to solve, and I get y is equal to the square root of 80. Now, you practiced simplifying these when you did the geometric mean. So let's see, I want to look for factors of 80 that would be perfect squares. So 8 times 10, that's not so good. I think 16 goes, yeah, 16 times 5, that's good. Because then I can do the square root of 16 times the square root of 5, but the square root of 16 is a perfect square, so I'd get 4 square root of 5. And that's what my y is equal to. So you can see that you just have to keep kind of plugging in and finding what works, what parts of your triangles you can solve for. You can find z using just the small triangle. You could use Pythagorean theorem. You could go 2 squared plus 4 squared equals z squared. So you don't have to use a proportion to find z. You could, though. You could do short leg over short leg equals long leg over long leg, now that you know what x is and y is. You could plug those in. Or you could do short leg over hypotenuse equals short leg over hypotenuse. So there's lots of options to find the last variable, but you could just do it with Pythagorean theorem. So you're going to do each problem like that. They're not labeled, the other ones, so that's your first task, is to label these. So let's do one more problem where I help you set it up. Let's set this one up. The original triangle has the right angle up here. The hypotenuse of the original triangle would be this side over here. That's x plus 9. So I'm going to put that on my big triangle. This is my big, my medium, and my small. And then we have the short leg of my big triangle is y, so I label that y. And my long leg then would be z. So I've got all the parts of my original big triangle. Now I'm going to change my pen color. Now I'm going to work on the medium triangle. So the medium triangle is this one. Here's the right angle, right here. Let's outline this in pink. So in my medium triangle, the right angle is here. The hypotenuse is opposite. That's z. I'll put that in first, z. Then my short leg is 6, and my long leg is 9. You could find z of that problem by using the Pythagorean theorem. Okay, now we're going to find the small triangle. I will use some blue here. So here's my small triangle. My small triangle has a right angle right here. Opposite the right angle is the hypotenuse, which is y. The short leg is x. The long leg is 6. So then you'll set up a proportion. If you want, you can find z right away, but it's going to be a square root. And then you can, let's see, what would I do to find x or y? For x, I would definitely use these two triangles, and I would do short leg of the medium over short leg of the small is equal to the long leg of the medium over the long leg of the small. That's the proportion I would use, because then you could do 6 over x equals 9 over 6, and that's going to be pretty easy to solve. And then once you have, that's to find x, and you can find z, I already said with Pythagorean theorem, then all you'll have left to find is y. So then you can set up another proportion, or maybe you'll have enough information to use Pythagorean theorem at that time. So I hope this helps you do well on this assignment. Let me know if you have any questions, and remember there is a longer video that goes through even more examples of how to do these problems. Thanks a lot and have a wonderful day.